The galaxy had lived in balance for a long time. War still existed, but it was not wild or messy anymore. It followed rules. The powerful empires used war like a game. They planned each move, made deals, and used their weapons with care. Did not want to destroy each other, only show strength and control. Generals wore medals, gave speeches, and shook hands after battles. Everyone believed war was mastered. In the center of this galaxy, the High Council announced a new event. They called it the Sovereign Conflict. It was not a real war, only a test of power between the top empires. Fleets were ready. Soldiers trained in quiet halls. Drones followed every command. The council prepared for a smooth show of force. The outcome was already known. Peace would follow. But then something strange happened. A fleet appeared at the edge of the galaxy. The ships were not like the others. They were old and dark, not polished or full of lights. Their metal was scarred. They did not send a greeting. They did not follow the rules. They only sent one message. "We are the humans." The council members laughed. They'd never heard of this name before. Some thought it was a joke. Others believed it was a lost colony or a weak tribe. But still, the humans were given a place in the sovereign conflict. The council wanted to teach them a lesson. The humans arrived in silence. No flags, no songs, no bright symbols, only silence. Their leader was a woman. She wore black armor and stood without fear. Her name was Queen Helena Cross. She said only one thing to the other leaders: "You mastered war. We were born in it." No one took her seriously. Not yet. The first battle began. The council sent Commander Reeve Halden, one of their best. His fleet moved with perfect timing. Every shot was clean. Every move was planned. But then the human ships moved. They did not follow rules. They moved fast and strange. They struck from below, from the dark, from the places no one looked. In minutes, Halden's fleet was gone. No message, no signal, only silence. The council was quiet. Fear started to grow. The humans had arrived, and they were nothing like the others. The council could not believe what had happened. Commander Reeve Halden and his whole fleet had vanished. There was no warning, no escape signal, and no pieces left behind. The area where the battle took place was cold and empty. It looked like nothing had happened at all, but something had. The council leaders called for an emergency meeting. They sat in a large hall, their faces hard and serious. Some spoke with anger, others with worry. One by one, they watched the last recording from Halden's ship. It showed human ships moving in strange ways. They came from the dark, turned sharply, and attacked with power no one had seen before. These humans were not using normal weapons. They did not follow the rules. They used fire, steel, and speed. They moved like hunters, not soldiers. Their ships were old, but fast. Their weapons looked simple, but they hit hard. The council leaders were silent after the video ended. One of them finally spoke. "They are wild," another answered. "No, they are trained in a different way." The humans had not sent any message after the battle. They gave no warning, no demand, and no talk of peace. They were quiet. This made the council even more afraid. The silence was not weakness, it was strength. Back at the human fleet, Queen Helena Cross stood in her command room. Her face showed no emotion. She looked at the stars ahead and said nothing. Around her, her people moved fast and sharp. They did not cheer for their victory. They only waited for her next order. Captain Dean Holloway stepped beside her. "They will send more," he said. Helena nodded. "Let them." In the council, a new plan was made. This time, they would not attack from the front. They would send a team inside the human ship to study it. A special group of silent fighters would enter without being seen. They would find the command center and shut it down. Then, the humans would be easy to stop. The mission started that night. The team flew small ships and reached the human flagship. They cut through the outer wall and entered the dark hallway. But what they found inside was not what they expected. The ship was quiet and cold. The walls were made of thick steel. There were no glowing screens or soft lights, and then they heard footsteps. Heavy, slow, getting closer. The footsteps echoed through the dark hallway. The council team froze. They were trained for silence, trained for fear. But this sound made them feel something different. It was not fast or loud. It was steady and strong. It was not the sound of someone running. It was the sound of someone hunting. The first fighter raised his weapon. The team moved forward, careful and slow. The hallway turned, and they saw red lights glowing above. Not computer lights, but warning lamps. Everything inside the human ship looked old, but it worked. Pipes ran along the walls. The air was thick with heat and smoke. Suddenly, a door opened ahead. A man stepped out. He wore dark armor and carried a long blade. Not a gun. A blade. His eyes locked onto the team and he smiled. "You don't belong here," he said. Before they could answer, he charged. The first soldier fired, but the man moved fast. Too fast, he struck with his blade, and 2 of them dropped before they could scream. The others ran back, but more humans were behind them. Men and women, all in armor, all silent. The fight was quick and brutal. No words, no mercy. Only one soldier escaped, jumped through the hole in the wall and reached his small ship. His hands were shaking as he flew back to the council base. When he landed, the guards rushed to help him. He dropped to his knees and looked up at the leaders. "They don't fight like us," he said. "They fight with hands, with knives, with fire, and they like it." The council members stared at him in shock. One leader stood and said, "They are savages." The soldier shook his head. "No, they are something worse. They are ready to die, but they don't fall. I saw one man keep fighting after being shot." He smiled while bleeding. Back on the human ship, Queen Helena Cross stood over the bodies of the intruders. Her armor was marked with cuts, but she was calm. "Did they learn anything?" asked Captain Dean Holloway. "No," she said, "but we did." The humans began to prepare. No more waiting, no more silence. Queen Helena gave her next command: "Pick the next sector and leave nothing behind." The humans moved fast. They did not wait for permission or orders from the council. Their ships turned toward the next sector and entered without warning. No signals were sent. No peace talks were offered. They came like a storm, silent, cold, and full of fire. The sector was guarded by strong fleets. These ships were newer and larger than the ones destroyed before. The council believed this time the humans would be stopped, but they were wrong again. Captain Dean Holloway led the front line. His ship did not shine. It looked broken and dirty, but it flew with speed that no one expected. Behind him, the rest of the human fleet followed. Each ship moved like it was alive. They did not keep perfect lines, like wolves in a hunt. The battle began without a warning shot. Human weapons were loud and sharp. Their blasts were not clean or smooth. They tore metal like paper. Council fleets fired back, but their shots missed. The humans did not move like machines. They did not follow patterns. They turned hard. They rushed in close, and they attacked from every side. On one ship, a council officer shouted for help. His screen showed fire on every side. His commands were not working. His systems were confused. The humans had used noise signals to block their eyes and ears. His ship spun, then cracked open. The council lost 5 fleets in one day. Back on the human flagship, Queen Helena Cross stood near a wide window. She watched the fire in the distance. Her face showed no joy, only focus. "They still believe this is war," she said. Lieutenant Ava Morgan stepped forward. She was younger than the others, but sharp and brave. "They never saw real war," Ava said. "They trained for rules. We trained to survive." Queen Helena nodded. "This is only the beginning." News of the attack reached the council. Panic spread. Leaders argued. Some wanted to talk, so others wanted to strike back harder. One thing was clear to them all: humans were not playing a game. The council called for their last defense, a weapon never used before. A plan made long ago, locked deep in their vaults. If the humans would not stop, then they would be erased. But the humans were ready, and Queen Helena had only just begun. The council was desperate. Their fleets were falling fast. The humans were not just winning, they were breaking everything the council believed about war. No talks, no fear, no rules. It's just fire and steel. In a deep chamber far from the war front, the council unlocked a hidden vault. Inside was a machine built long ago. It was called the Final Harmony Protocol. It was not made to fight. It was made to end all fighting. A wave of power that could shut down ships, weapons, and even minds. The council had never used it because it was too dangerous. But now they had no choice. They sent the device to the front line and waited. When the humans arrived in the next sector, the protocol was activated. A silent wave moved through space. Human ships stopped in mid-flight. Screens went black. Engines died. For a moment, the council cheered. They thought they had one. But then the human ships started moving again. Slow at first, then faster. Lights returned. Engines roared. And then they attacked. On the flagship, Queen Helena Cross stood beside Captain Dean Holloway. Her armor was cracked. Her face had dust and sweat. "They tried to shut us down," Dean said. "They don't understand," Helena said. "We don't run on codes. We don't need machines. We're not weak like them." The humans had built their ships without full control systems. They used manual tools, old wires, and backup engines. While the council trusted smooth design, the humans trusted toughness. The protocol had failed. The human fleet hit harder than ever. Their shots burned through walls. Their soldiers broke into ships and fought with hands, knives, and fire. They took no prisoners. They left nothing standing. Back on Earth, before the space war began, Queen Helena had grown up in ruins. Her country was broken by fire and war. She had fought since she was a child. She had won not by power, but by pain. She had united the last human nations with her own hands. Now she had brought that fire to the stars. As the council's last fleet fell, one leader whispered, "She is not a queen. She is the storm." The humans were not stopping. The war had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. The council was broken. Some leaders fled. Others stayed and begged for peace. A few still believed they could win. One of them was Marshal Grant Rowan. He was the last strong voice of the old war system. He wore medals and spoke with pride, but his eyes showed fear. He called for all remaining forces to gather at Crimson Reach. It was the last safe ground the council had, a place where many wars had ended. Now would be the place of one final battle. Queen Helena Cross heard the message. She did not wait. She ordered her fleet to move. The humans had no fear of Crimson Reach. They were not coming to talk. They were coming to finish the war. As the human fleet arrived, the sky over Crimson Reach turned red with fire. Ships clashed in wild motion. The council forces tried to form lines, but the humans broke through every time. Their speed was too fast. Their style was too sharp. Their rage was real. Inside the smoke and fire, Queen Helena landed with a small team. She walked through the battlefield, her blade in hand. She did not hide. She moved toward the main command post, where Marshal Rowan waited. He stood tall, his armor shining. He raised his weapon and spoke loudly. "This is not your place. Yes, this war belongs to us." Helena did not speak. She rushed forward. The two clashed in the dust. Blades hit. Sparks flew. Rowan was skilled, but Helena fought like she had nothing to lose. Every move was fierce. Every strike was final. Rohan began to fall back. His defense broke. Helena moved in and cut his weapon in two. Then she brought him to the ground. He looked up, breathing hard. "You fight like a beast." She answered, "No, I fight like a human." With one last strike, it was over. All across the field, council soldiers dropped their weapons. The human flag was raised. The last stand of the council was finished. Captain Dean Holloway stood beside Helena. His armor was cracked. His voice was calm. "It's done." Anna looked at the burning sky. "No," she said. "It begins now." The old world had ended. A new one was rising. It belonged to the humans. The war was over. The council had fallen. Their fleets were gone. Their leaders were either dead or in hiding. The galaxy was quiet for the first time in a long while, but it was not peace. It was the silence that comes after something great has ended, and something greater is about to begin. Queen Helena Cross now stood at the center of what was once the council hall. The walls were cracked, the flags torn, and the golden seats were empty. She did not sit. She stood before the leaders who had surrendered. They watched her with fear. They were used to rules, papers, and talks. She was not here for any of that. "You thought you mastered war," she said. "But you turned it into a game. You made it soft. You forgot what real war feels like." None of them spoke. She stepped forward. "We came to show you. Came to remind you. War is not a show. War is not clean. War is pain. And we are pain." From that day on, the council was no more. A new rule began. human rule. Helena did not crown herself Queen of the Stars. She did not build a throne. She built schools for warriors. She built training grounds on dead worlds. She sent soldiers to every sector not to burn, but to teach. Some feared her, some hated her, but many followed her. They saw what she had done. They saw that humans were not just strong, they were survivors. They were builders, were fighters who did not stop. Captain Dean Holloway became commander of the new fleet. He led with sharp eyes and calm steps. Lieutenant Ava Morgan wrote the first book of the new time. She called it the Fire Age. It told the truth. No lies, no soft words. The old systems were gone. The new ones were built with sweat and steel. There were still fights, but now they were real, honest, sharp. The stars had changed. Deep in those stars, every world remembered one thing. Humans did not come to learn war. They were war, and war had returned to lead.